The haunted old vicarage in Borgvattnet, Sweden. Location: Borgvattnet, Sweden. Background: the old vicarage in Borgvattnet, a small village in northern Sweden, was built in the 19th century. Over the years, it has gained a reputation for its ghostly activity, including apparitions, strange noises, and moving objects. It is considered one of the most haunted houses in Sweden. The history of the vicarage. The old vicarage in Borgvattnet was constructed in 1876 to serve as the residence for the village vicar. The quaint building, with its traditional Swedish architecture, was nestled in the serene and picturesque landscape of northern Sweden. It stood as a symbol of peace and spirituality for the small, close-knit community it served. The first resident vicar was Niels Hedlund, a devout and kind-hearted man who served the community with dedication. Hedlund's tenure at the vicarage was peaceful, and there were no reports of any unusual occurrences. However, this calm period was short-lived, and the vicarage would soon gain a reputation for being anything but serene. The first recorded signs of ghostly activity in the old vicarage appeared in the early 1920s. By this time, a new vicar, Per Segerblad, had taken residence. Segerblad, known for his strict and austere demeanor, began to report strange occurrences that he could not explain. One evening, while working late in his study, Segerblad heard footsteps in the hallway. Assuming it was one of the household staff, he went to investigate, only to find the corridor empty. The footsteps continued, growing louder and more insistent, yet no one was ever there. This was the beginning of a series of unsettling events that would plague the vicarage for decades. The reports of ghostly apparitions began to increase. Residents and visitors alike claimed to have seen figures dressed in old-fashioned clothing wandering the halls. These apparitions were often described as looking sad or distressed, disappearing abruptly when approached. One of the most frequently seen apparitions was that of a woman in gray. She was often seen in the vicar's quarters, standing by the window, looking out as if waiting for someone. Another commonly reported ghost was a man dressed in black, who would appear in the dining room and then vanish through a solid wall. These sightings were accompanied by other inexplicable phenomena. Objects would move on their own. Strange noises echoed through the halls at all hours, and an unshakable feeling of being watched pervaded the house. Despite the unsettling occurrences, the vicarage continued to serve its purpose, with new vicars coming and going, each adding their own experiences to the growing legend. In the 1940s, Vicar Eric Lindgren took up residence in the old vicarage. Lindgren was a skeptic by nature and did not believe in ghosts or the supernatural. However, his skepticism was soon challenged by the relentless paranormal activity in the house. One night, Lindgren was woken by the sound of furniture being dragged across the floor in the room above him. He rushed upstairs, expecting to find an intruder, but the room was empty, and the furniture was undisturbed. The noises continued, sometimes accompanied by the sound of children crying or laughter, but always with no apparent source. Lindgren also experienced the unsettling phenomenon of objects moving by themselves. On several occasions, he witnessed books flying off shelves, doors opening and closing on their own, and personal belongings disappearing only to reappear in different places. Despite his initial skepticism, Lindgren could no longer deny that something unexplainable was happening in the vicarage. The Grey Lady and the Poltergeist. One of the most famous ghost stories associated with the old vicarage is that of the Grey Lady. According to legend, the Grey Lady was a former maid who had served in the vicarage many years ago. She was said to have had a tragic love affair with a young man from the village, which ended in heartbreak and despair. After her death, her spirit remained in the vicarage, unable to find peace. The Grey Lady was often seen standing by the window in the attic, looking out with a forlorn expression. Those who encountered her described a feeling of overwhelming sadness and longing. Attempts to communicate with her through seances and other means were met with silence, reinforcing the belief that she was trapped in her own sorrow. In addition to the Grey Lady, the vicarage was also plagued by a mischievous poltergeist. This entity seemed to delight in causing chaos and confusion. It would knock over furniture, throw objects, and create loud banging noises. The poltergeist activity was most intense in the kitchen and dining areas, where pots and pans would be found scattered across the floor, and cutlery would inexplicably fly through the air. The investigation. As the reputation of the old vicarage grew, it attracted the attention of paranormal investigators and researchers from across Sweden and beyond. One of the most notable investigations was conducted in the 1970s by a team led by Dr. Anders Johnson, a renowned parapsychologist. Dr. Johnson and his team spent several nights in the vicarage, using a range of equipment to monitor for paranormal activity. They recorded numerous instances of unexplained noises, temperature fluctuations, and even captured photographs of what appeared to be ghostly apparitions. Their findings were published in a detailed report, which concluded that the old vicarage was indeed haunted by multiple entities. The investigation brought even more attention to the vicarage, and it became a popular destination for those interested in the paranormal. Ghost hunters, curiosity seekers, and media crews all flocked to Borgvattnet, hoping to catch a glimpse of the famous ghosts. In recent years, the old vicarage has continued to be a hotspot for paranormal activity. Visitors and guests report experiencing the same eerie phenomena that have been documented for decades. The sounds of footsteps, the sight of apparitions, and the movement of objects are all commonly reported. One particularly chilling account comes from a couple who stayed at the vicarage in the early 2000s. They reported being woken in the middle of the night by the feeling of someone sitting on the edge of their bed. When they turned on the light, they saw the impression of a person in the bedspread, but no one was there. The couple left the vicarage the next morning, vowing never to return. The old vicarage in Borgvattnet remains one of Sweden's most haunted locations. Its rich history and the numerous accounts of paranormal activity have made it a subject of fascination and fear. The vicarage has been featured in books, documentaries, and television shows, each adding to its mystique. Despite the ghostly activity, the vicarage continues to operate as a guest house, offering brave souls the opportunity to experience its haunted halls firsthand. Many visitors leave with their own stories of unexplained phenomena, adding to the ever-growing legend of the old vicarage. The haunting of the old vicarage has not only affected those who have stayed within its walls, but also had a profound psychological impact on the local community. The stories of the vicarage have become a part of the village's identity, influencing how residents perceive their own history and environment. Psychologists studying the phenomenon have noted that the power of suggestion and the human tendency to find patterns in random events play significant roles in the enduring belief in the vicarage's hauntings. The eerie atmosphere of the old building, combined with the long-standing legends, creates a fertile ground for the imagination. The scientific perspective. While the legend of the haunted vicarage is deeply rooted in local folklore, some scientists and researchers have sought to provide rational explanations for the reported phenomena. Skeptics argue that the strange occurrences can be attributed to natural causes, such as drafts, the settling of the old house, and the power of suggestion. However, despite these rational explanations, the enduring mystery of the vicarage continues to captivate and intrigue. The lack of concrete evidence and the dramatic nature of the events ensure that the legend remains a topic of debate and fascination. The paranormal investigations. Paranormal investigators continue to explore the possibility that something truly supernatural is at play in the old vicarage. The eerie details of the history, the chilling apparitions, and the ghostly phenomena reported by visitors lend credence to the idea that the vicarage is haunted by multiple spirits. Some investigators have proposed that the vicarage acts as a conduit for the spirits, allowing them to interact with the physical world. According to this theory, the building itself is a focal point for the energy of the haunting, and disturbing it triggers a violent reaction. Others argue that the vicarage is cursed, possibly as a result of past events or actions. According to this theory, the curse manifests as a malevolent force that protects the vicarage and punishes those who attempt to uncover its secrets. The enduring mystery. Despite numerous investigations and theories, the mystery of the haunted old vicarage in Borgvattnet remains unsolved. The lack of concrete evidence and the dramatic nature of the events have ensured that the legend continues to captivate and intrigue. For those who are fascinated by the supernatural, the story of the haunted vicarage is a reminder of the unknown forces that may exist beyond our understanding. The tale challenges us to consider the limits of our knowledge and the possibility that some mysteries are never meant to be fully understood. The old vicarage in Borgvattnet is more than just a haunted house. It is a symbol of the enduring power of folklore and the mysteries of the past. The legend that surrounds the vicarage has left an indelible mark on the village and the local community, becoming a part of the cultural landscape. As long as the vicarage stands, so too will the stories of its haunting. The vicarage will continue to haunt the imaginations of those who hear its tale, a symbol of the unknown and the mysteries that lie just beyond our understanding. The story of the haunted old vicarage challenges us to consider the nature of belief and the ways in which our perceptions are shaped by culture, media, and personal experience. It invites us to explore the boundaries between reality and imagination and to question what we think we know about the world around us. In the end, the haunted old vicarage in Borgvattnet is a reminder that some mysteries are never meant to be fully understood.